Hey everyone, welcome to my world. So for today's video, I filmed an everyday makeup tutorial. So this is pretty much the look that I wear on a day-to-day basis. And I not only talk about the products that I have on my face right now, but all the makeup products that I have in my everyday makeup bin, because there are some products that I like to alternate between. So if you want to know how I did my makeup today and you want to learn a little bit more about my favorite go-to products, just keep on watching.
So let's start off with my everyday makeup collection. So this bin is where I store all of my everyday makeup. It's a Scub drawer organizer from IKEA, which comes in a set of 6 with 3 different sizes. So this is the medium-sized one. And in here, I keep mostly drugstore products or more affordable items. I also do have multiple mascaras, lip products, etc. because sometimes I have more than one favorite and some products I'm just trying to use up. Another thing that is also important for my everyday makeup is makeup brushes. So I keep all my makeup brushes in a mug, and I actually don't have too many. So I have a set of 15 brushes from Vanity Planet, which you can purchase on Amazon, and it costs $15, which is great for 15 brushes, and it's actually a lot cheaper than it was when I bought it a few years ago. And honestly, the quality has been pretty reasonable too for the price. Then I also have 2 duplicates from another brand that just kind of came in a random makeup set that I got a while ago. But that's how I store all the tools and products I need for daily use. So now let's get into the makeup look, starting with the first product I usually use, concealer. So the first concealer I have is the E.L.F. 16-Hour Camo Concealer in the shade Tan Latte. It's a good full coverage concealer at a great price of $6.97. Something important to note though is that it dries a few shades darker, but still the shade I purchased was too light for me, and since the formula is very matte, if you do have dry skin like I do, it's definitely going to stick to those dry spots. So right now I just keep it with my everyday makeup to use it up. The next concealer I have is the Covergirl True Blend Undercover Concealer in the shade Warm Honey, and I pretty much use this in 90% of my videos, so I obviously love it. It's still pretty affordable at $10, and I use it as a brightening concealer. It's full coverage with a matte finish as well, but it doesn't feel as drying on the skin as the E.L.F. concealer does. The last concealer is the Dermablend Smooth Liquid Camo Concealer in the shade Deep, and I actually keep an extra unopened tube as well. This retails at around $32 or so it's quite expensive in comparison to some of the other products that I use. This one is a few shades darker than the other 2 concealers because it actually matches my skin tone, so I use this one whenever I just want to cover my dark circles. Now, I start my makeup by just using concealer to prime my eyelids, so for that, I just use the CoverGirl concealer and just apply that on my eyelids and blend it out with my fingers. Once my eyelids are primed, it's time to move on to eyeshadow. As for eyeshadow, I don't really need too much for everyday use, so the 2 items that I have are the Catrice and Eman Bronzed AF eyeshadow palette and this MAC eyeshadow in the shade Tete-A-Tint. Starting with the Bronzed AF palette, it's a very affordable palette with 9 different shades, and the great thing about this palette is that it has some neutral shades, some deeper shades, and some shimmer shades, and I also love that it has a black shadow as well. But for an everyday look, I like to keep it pretty soft and simple, so I start with the shade Sunset. And using the medium blender brush from the Vanity Planet set, I use the shade all over my eyelid, mostly to set the concealer, but it also does add a little bit of color to my eyelids as well. Then I like to use the MAC eyeshadow. It's a lovely peachy soft neutral shade, and it's actually the first ever eyeshadow that I've hit pan on, so that tells you how much I use it. So I apply this shade all over my eyelid and crease as well using the same medium blender brush. Sometimes I'll just wear this shade on my eyes and stop there, but if I want a little bit more color, I'll go back into the Catrice palette and add the shade Runyon. This is a beautiful chestnut shade, and the great thing about it is you can apply it very lightly so that it's not super pigmented, or build up the color if that's what you prefer. Since it's for an everyday look, I do a very soft dusting of the shade throughout my crease, and I also focus it on the inner and outer corners of my eyelid, again using the same medium blender brush. And that's pretty much it for the eyeshadow. I like to keep it super simple so that this look can be done very quickly, and once that's done, it's time to move on to the eyebrows. I currently only own 2 eyebrow products and I keep them both with my everyday makeup. The first is the Annabelle eyebrow pencil in the shade medium brown, which is just $5.96, and the second one is the Essence eyebrow designer pencil in the shade brown, which is even more affordable at just $2.49. Now with both pencils, you can use them dull or with a light hand to get a softer application, which is what I prefer, or you can sharpen it and apply it with a little bit more pressure to make it appear darker. Both colors look very similar. However, I just usually reach for the Annabelle one. With the pencil, I just fill in my eyebrows, and this step is something that I will always do whenever I'm leaving the house or when I have people over. I don't mind not wearing any other makeup, but with eyebrows, I don't know, they're just a must for me, and just having my eyebrows done I feel like makes such a huge difference to my entire look. Now when I fill them in, I do go a little bit overboard, which is intentional, so I use the brush on the front then to kind of brush my eyebrows to get that gradient look, and then clean up the rest of the edges with some foundation. Once that's done, the next step that I move on to is eyeliner. First off, I have the E.L.F. Precision Liquid Eyeliner, which is super affordable at $4.97. It has a great tapered brush tip applicator, which makes it easy to create a thin or thick line, but the formula is kind of watery, so it can be a bit tricky to apply, and it also has a glossy finish. Then I also have the L'Oreal Paris Lineur Intense Eyeliner in Carbon Black, which retails at a price of $9.97. It's hard to tell in this image, but it has a very thin brush tip applicator, and it's great for doing really thin and precise liner, but it's also really flimsy, so it can be difficult for those who don't have a steady hand and struggle with liner, but if you can work with it, the payoff is amazing. This is the blackest liner I've ever owned, and it also has a glossy finish. Then last but not least, I have the Yves Saint Laurent False Lash Effect Eyeliner, which is a bit pricey at $46, and unlike the other 2 liners, it has a felt tip which I find easier to use, and it also dries matte, so it's a nice alternative to have. Now here's a comparison of all 3 swatches, and as you can see, the L'Oreal one is the blackest with 1 swipe, so that's the one that I've been reaching for lately, and I like to start off by doing a fairly thin line along the lash line in very short strokes, and then I'll wing it out. Then once that's done, if I feel the need to thicken the line, I'll go back in and touch it up. Once I'm satisfied with my liner, I move on to my lashes, and a very, very important tool I need for that is my eyelash curler. I've been using the same curler for the past few years now, and it's the Quote Lush and Long Eyelash Curler. It's pretty basic and very affordable, and when I'm curling my lashes, I just really focus on heavily curling the base of my lashes and then slowly working my way to the ends, making sure that they are super curled and ready for the next step, which is mascara. So mascara to me is a really important part of my everyday makeup, so I have a few. The first one is the Covergirl Lash Blast Volume Waterproof Mascara in Very Black, which used to be my favorite. Its pros are it's affordable, long-lasting, and holds a curl really well, but as for its cons, it's not as black as some other mascaras, and it doesn't coat all my lashes and kind of bunches some of them together, making them appear a little bit more sparse. The next one I love is the Maybelline Volume Express the Falsies Waterproof Mascara in Very Black, and its pros are it's affordable, super black, holds a curl, adds volume, and coats every lash, and its only con is that it can get a little bit clumpy depending on your application. So those are the 2 waterproof mascaras that I alternate between. Then I also have the Maybelline Illegal Length Washable Fiber Extensions Mascara. It's still affordable at $9.95, and its other pros are that it has little fibers that help your lashes look longer, and it has an amazing wand that coats and separates each lash. And I love this wand so much that I actually keep a second empty tube with no product in it, so that after I'm done applying any mascara, I can comb out my lashes and they will never look clumpy. Then lastly, I've also been using the Maybelline Lash Stiletto Ultimate Length Washable Mascara. It's the priciest at $10.99, but its pros are also that it's very black and it separates and lengthens your lashes, so it's very similar to the Maybelline Illegal Length Mascara. So those are all the mascaras I keep in my everyday collection, and my number one go-to right now is the Maybelline Volume Express Mascara. So I start by just applying that to my top lashes. And then here, I'm just going in with the dry Maybelline Illegal Length Mascara wand and just using it to brush out the lashes. Now, I didn't forget about my bottom lashes, but before I can apply mascara there, I like to conceal under my eyes first. So for that, I prefer to use the Dermablend concealer, so it looks a bit more natural than a highlighted under eye, and I can also go without foundation if I wanted to. To actually blend out the concealer, I like to use both my fingers as well as the Precision Concealer Brush from the Vanity Planet set. And then for my bottom lashes, I only use the Maybelline Illegal Length Fiber Extensions Mascara. And I also applied it to the ends of my top lashes to give them additional length. Once I'm done with my eyes, I move on to the rest of my face. Now, my skin gets very oily very easily. You can see it on my forehead and on my cheeks as well. So something that is an everyday essential for me is oil blotting sheets. So the one that I've been using lately is the Quo Deluxe Blotting Paper Compact. It's a very sleek product. It has a mirror, a sponge applicator to help pick up the papers. This little white paper just protects the blotting sheets. And this is what the actual blotting sheets look like. They're made with charcoal bamboo, which is highly porous and good for moisture and oil absorption. So if you just watch this oily spot on my forehead, I'm just going to press the paper against the skin and look at that. That one spot is now very matte, and this is what the paper looks like. Kind of gross, I know, but I mean, it's natural. So I just use it to absorb the oil all over my face before continuing with my base. Now, after this is when I would apply sunscreen because it's best to apply it 15 minutes before sun exposure. I didn't apply it when filming because I was just going to wash my face right after, but that's still an important part of my everyday routine. And then once I've applied sunscreen, it is time for foundation. If you've watched any of my other videos, you can probably guess which foundation I use daily. It's the Maybelline New York Fit Me Foundation in the shade 330 Toffee. I have a few other foundations, but this is the only one I keep with my everyday makeup. There are also some days where I won't bother with foundation, but if I'm using it, I try not to put on too much every day. The great thing about this foundation is that it's buildable, so you can use it very sparingly or build it up for more coverage. And then to blend out the foundation, I use the flat top stippling brush from the Vanity Planet set. Now, I do avoid putting foundation directly on my chin and around my mouth because if I do that, I would need to color correct first, and that just snowballs into me taking on a ton of makeup. Once I put foundation on, it's time to lock it in with some setting powder. So I keep two powders. One is the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in 35 Deep, and the other one is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless in the shade 334 Warm Sun. So as for the loose powder, I know it's a bit much for everyday use, but I just love this product. So I mostly keep it in here because my everyday makeup is just the most accessible, and if there's a day I want to cake on makeup, I'm definitely going to use this powder because it helps keep me super matte, which I love and need. But on the daily, I usually reach for the pressed powder. This product also works really well. It's also less messy and can be easily applied throughout the day. It also comes with a sponge applicator and a mirror as well, so I like to throw it in my purse after I'm done applying my makeup. Now, just a quick tip, whenever you're applying powder, you want to press the product onto your skin. Don't drag the applicator because you don't want to move or wipe off the foundation you just applied. You want to help set it in place. And whenever I do reapply powder throughout the day, the first thing I try to use is an oil blotting sheet and then apply the powder. That way I don't need to use as much. Once that's done, it is time to move on to lips. So with lips, I like to have a few options because what I choose usually depends on what color I'm wearing. So first, I have a pinkish shade, which is the Maybelline New York Color Sensational in 950 Untainted Spice. It's really affordable and doesn't feel dry on my lips, and I like this one because the color looks very close to my natural lip color. The next shade I have is the Maybelline New York Color Sensational in 275 Crazy for Coffee, and I use this one as my more neutral shade. It looks very similar to Untainted Spice, but with a little bit of brown to it. And then there's the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream in Berlin, and it's a beautiful reddish brown. My only issue with it is that it is a matte lip product, so it's very drying on the lips, but that's a sacrifice I am willing to make for this product. And then I also keep 3 lip liners that can be paired with each lipstick. The first one is the MAC Cosmetics Lip Pencil in the shade Whirl. It's a dirty rose shade, so I like to pair that with Untainted Spice. Next, I have the NYX Professional Makeup Slim Lip Pencil in the shade Nutmeg, and I pair it with Crazy for Coffee. And lastly, I have the Maybelline New York Color Sensational Lip Liner in Raisin. It matches Berlin really well, so I love pairing those two, and it also has some sparkles, which is a cool bonus. So that is the pairing that I ended up going with for this video. Once my lips are done, the very last step I like to do is blush. The 2 blushes that I currently have are the Wet n Wild Color Icon Blush in the shade Mellow Wine and the NYX Sweet Cheeks Blush in the shade Totally Chill. Mellow Wine is a really beautiful corally pink shade, and this product is super affordable at $4.97, so I definitely recommend you try one of these blushes out. Then as for Totally Chill, I love this shade because I feel like it matches my general vibe and most of my makeup looks. It is a terracotta rose, and this is definitely the one that I reach for 90% of the time, so that is what I used to finish off this look. And I just applied it high up on my cheekbones with the powder / blush brush from the Vanity Planet set. And there you have it, guys. This is pretty much my go-to look, but before I wrap up this video, I just want to give a quick mention to the remaining products that I keep with my everyday makeup but don't necessarily always use. So first up, there's the Maybelline Baby Skin Instant Pore Eraser. Then I also have the L'Oreal Shaping Stick Foundation in the shade 420 Chestnut. Then I have this little red heart box in here, which is actually where I store my Quote Beauty Blending Sponge. Then I also have the Wet n Wild Color Icon Kohl Liner Pencil in the shade Taupe of the Morning, this random sharpener, and a random comb.
So there you have it, guys. This is pretty much the makeup look that I wear on a daily basis. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure you leave it a like. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications. That way I can catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.